So guys, I just stocked up for the coming season. I don't have any front tires, just the rear tires. Front tires I ordered was the wrong stiffness on. It was ones, Dunlop ones. I ordered threes, so just to say, this is not all mine. I shared this with a friend, so it's time to check out the rims. And then we need to go to the garage. Just to show you, this is my daughter's pocket bike, and it's a Honda CRF with street tires, so she can do some track as well. She's 11 years old. So today we are going to take care of the bearings inside the front and the rear wheel. So we're going to remove the bearing and the seals and replace them. I got some aftermarket bearings. They were cheaper and better. So I'm gonna go through this step by step with you guys. So what I've done here is build a makeshift stand, some kind, so you can get the rim off the ground. So we start by the rear wheel, and if I put it here, you can see from my hand that it's not touching the ground. And after removing the hub, there's a bearing there too that we will change eventually. After removing the hub, you can see the bearing inside here. And there are two bearings on each side of this, and inside is a rod. As you can see, you can push it to the side, and when you do that, you can get access to the bearing on the other side, as you can see. So by pushing this rod to the side, you can take a screwdriver or something to chisel with. I use this flathead, and I don't know if I can show you this. Just put it to the end, but before we do this, we have to turn this around to the other side and heat up the rim. So I'll switch this around and show you what I mean. So on my rims, I got the Alpha distance, which will make your life a lot easier when you're changing rims. So I removed that by yanking it out, and we're gonna start by heating up this side. And I use a heating gun, and then you have to move it around so you don't just heat up one spot. Otherwise you can damage the paint. If you have paint on your rims, you have to be careful. So just move it around and heat it up. And you have to do this for a couple of minutes. So heat it up pretty good. And I don't want to waste your time, so I'll heat this up for a couple of minutes and get back to you. Then when you have heated this up, you need to remove the seal, which is here. So I'll just put something to protect the rim, put a screwdriver in, and then try to pry the seal off. I need to heat this up a little bit more. I'll do that and get back to you. So guys, the seal is off. I'm going to replace this as well. You have to be careful with this sensor. So if you bend it, then your traction control won't work. As you can see inside here, there's a seal, and you need to have a plier like this to remove this locking seal, which you compress together and then remove. So we put this guy aside, clean it up. So next step is turning the rim around and start knocking out this bearing from the other side. So guys, it took some knocking, and you can see the rod inside and the bearing on the on the ground here. So I'll twist this around and show you what it looks like inside. But this is the old bearing and the rod that's inside. So what we end up with here is a big hole, as you can see, and then we can get access to the bearing that's on the other side. So what I need to do is turn the rim around and then start heating up that bearing and the surrounding of it, and then knock it out from this side. So same procedure, heat it around that bearing. We twist this around for you guys so I can show what I'm talking about. So we'll go around this with a heat gun on this side for a couple of minutes so it's warm and nice, and then knock it out from the other side. I'll do that and get back to you. So guys, this is what I'm gonna use, a socket that goes just on the inside of this bearing, and then I have heated this up. I'm gonna drop it down there and take my hammer and hit it all the way up. I'll do that and get back to you. So the bearing is out. As you can see, it's there. It's a big hole in here. I have to clean it inside. It looks like some dirt. There's dirt everywhere on this rim, so I need to clean the rim as well. So next step is to replace the bearings. Before that, I need to clean this guy up, and we'll start by inserting this side. So guys, I decided to put the sensor side first, and these are the bearings. That's the serial number for that. NTN Japanese. I'd rather have Swedish SKF, but according to the salesperson, these are great. So I'll open up this plastic piece and I'll show you how to insert this. So I do apply a little bit of fat and just squish it around so it's all greased up. It will slide in easier. And then we need to heat this area up again. So I'll do that with a heat gun for a couple of minutes. What we will be able to do then is to drop this guy in and then either use the old bearings to put on top here and hammer on the sides, or in my case, I'm going to use a socket which will rest on the outer edge of the bearing. So you will hit on this metallic part, not on the red part, and get it straight in. So I start by heating up the rim. So it's almost in there, and when you hit it, I cannot do this with only one hand, but when you hit it, you'll get a different sound when it's in place. You will get more distinct sound when it's at the bottom. You will notice this when you hit it in. So I start hitting like all four corners until this thing is done. Then you can hear when it's at the bottom. So it's at the bottom, and I can see this groove here where the locking pin will go in. So we use the plier to put this in place. I'll do that and get back to you. So the locking mechanism is in, as you can see. Then I usually just stuff it with some fat to protect it from dirt and stuff like that. Not a whole lot, but just enough so it's like a layer there. So next we need to put the dust cover in, and this side is done with. So the dust cover, you can press it in as much as you can with your hands, and I usually use a plastic hammer to just tap it in place, and you may need to use both your hands to press it down on one side and tap it on the other. That's exactly what I need, so I'm going to do that and get back to you. And then finally we're going to put the distance in place, then we're done with this side, and twist the rim around and I'll show you on the other side. So guys, time to drop the rod in and just let it rest in the center as much as possible. There we go. So it's centered, and then we need to heat this area up again for a couple of minutes and then drop in the bearing on this side. So guys, the bearing is in, and you just have to check so this rod is aligned. If it's not, like it's differentiating a little bit for me, you can use a screwdriver just to push it to the side. Otherwise you won't be able to put the rear axle in. So it looks pretty good. A little bit here on the side, as you can see, it's showing. And that's how you change the bearings on the rear wheel. And this is all done in real time, except for when I pause to heat up the rim. It's not a big job, but it's necessary. Next video is going to be how to change the bearings on the front wheel, and then eventually how we can change the bearing inside there. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like, please do subscribe, and hope to see you soon.